Hi everyone, thanks so much for having me. As Elliot mentioned, my name is Adam. I'm from the Digital Emerging Talent Programs, which are the digital programs for graduates wanting to start in the Australian government. So I've just got a short presentation here today to talk you through some of the different pathways that are available to you if you're wanting to begin your digital career in government. Okay, so just before we begin, I just wanted to lead off with a couple of, I'll answer a couple of questions or bust a couple of myths that I get all the time about how do you actually find government job, graduate jobs within government. And really there's, the beauty is there's only one place to look, and that website there in the first dot point, apsjobs.gov.au, that's where it all is. That's the one place that all federal government graduate roles are advertised. You can visit that site, set yourself up with an account, and also create a criteria that will alert you when jobs become available that match your criteria. So really efficient way so you don't have to sort of search through any of the job boards or anything. You'll just get an email or so when a job pops up that matches what you're looking for. And the second question I get all the time is, how do you actually structure your application, or what are some good hints and tips about building a graduate application for government roles? And that second dot point there gives you a fantastic list of resources about how to do that. So right from initially putting together your online application or your resume, through to answering questions at interview and how to best structure those. So that site will also give you a lot of information about how to research government departments efficiently, so you don't have to visit all the different websites and things like that. And the final link there is also another really useful tool if you're not sure sort of what government departments or agencies are out there and how big they are and the kind of work that they do, and you want to sort of find that information in a nice consolidated list, and you don't have to dig through too much information. Directory.gov.au will give you, I guess, essentially a nice little snapshot of each of the agencies and departments that are out there. So we definitely recommend having a look at that site where you can. And the biggest tip that I can give is definitely just follow your passion. Definitely don't compromise for a graduate role that you don't feel is right for you, because if you follow something that you're passionate about, that'll really shine through the entire assessment process, and then of course throughout your entire career. Okay, so moving on now, we'll talk specifically about the different programs that we offer. So the Digital Emerging Talent Programs really are the Australian government's digital stream for any graduates that are wanting to come into the Australian government to do graduate work. So we provide participants with a number of different pathways that are really aimed at also boosting the Australian government's digital capability, but also making sure that we're providing clear digital career pathways for Australian students that are completing the digital degrees. So we assist all government departments and agencies to attract and retain the digital talent through their graduate programs. Okay, so the first program that I want to talk about, and probably the most relevant, is our digital graduate program. And the great thing about this one is that applications are open right now. So they've been open since early March, and they'll be open right through until the 19th of April. We've actually extended the closing dates. They've still got a good few weeks or so to get an application in for that one. And the eligibility requirements for the program are that you must be an Australian citizen and have completed your degree within the last 5 years. So if you're in your current final year at the moment, you can still absolutely apply, as long as you'll finish up your degree by the end of the year. If you're not sure that sort of what you're studying is what we're looking for, we make it really, really easy. We have a big list of all of the degrees that we're targeting on our website. And if you have a look at that list and you think that you're studying something that's similar to that, but you can't quite see it mentioned or you're not sure, of course, you can contact us and we'll be able to provide you some further guidance if our program would be right for your degree or not. Participants of the graduate program come on board at the Australian Public Service APS 3 or APS 4 level. That may not mean too much to you if you haven't had too much exposure to the Australian government already, but essentially that's coming in at the graduate level. The great thing about our graduate program is our professional development. So we're really dedicated to ensuring that all participants that come through our program have the opportunity from day one to continue their learning journey and their professional development. So as part of that, we're one of the few government programs that will continue to offer our participants postgraduate university study, and we have currently have a couple of certificates that our participants are able to choose from. One focuses on cybersecurity and networking, which is currently delivered for us by the Canberra Institute of Technology. And the other is a graduate certificate in government informatics, which is really designed to prepare our graduates for management levels in the digital space within the Australian government. And that qualification is delivered for us by the University of Canberra. The program itself is approximately 12 months long. Not really, it's actually a little bit shorter than that. So most of our participants would start towards the end of February each year. And then the program itself will run through to early to mid-December. Once the graduate program is finished, our participants, of course, will remain working with their current agency, but also are encouraged to apply for other agencies out in the Australian government and undertake mobility options to move at different levels through government. Okay, and if you're at a position now where perhaps you're just tuning in today and you haven't quite finished your degree, maybe you've got a year or so to go, that's great too, because we also have another program, which is the Digital Cadetship program. And this program, very similar to the graduate program, but is designed for you to continue studying at university, finishing your degree, but also will allow you to undertake some work experience with a government department whilst you're completing that degree to really complement your studies. You're of course paid for the days that you work. We ask that participants undertake a minimum of 2 days a week. But it's quite flexible how that's done. We have a lot of participants that perhaps might undertake 1 full day and 2 half days, for instance, or whatever sort of combination they might need to work around their studies. The great thing about this program as well is for every subject that you pass at uni, your employing agency will provide you with an academic allowance for every subject that you pass as well. So also for the days that you paid, you will receive an academic allowance for the subjects that you pass. The cadetship program can last anywhere from 1 to 3 years. So as long as you have sort of at least a minimum of 1 year remaining in your undergraduate or postgraduate digital degree, you're able to apply for this program. And even if you have right up to 3 years remaining, you're also able to apply. And the program itself will simply last as long as the remainder of the time that you have within your degree. Okay, so these are our points of contact. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to us at any time. So you can reach us primarily by email is the best way to get in contact with my team. So the email there, emergingtalent@apsc.gov.au. You can answer any questions that you might have. We also have a Facebook page that is quite active, and also our website there on the digital profession. So I just wanted to also cover a few points of difference for our program. I guess what makes us different from other government graduate programs or any other graduate program that you might come across. And probably the biggest point of difference really is that professional development that I mentioned earlier. We're one of the few graduate programs that will offer you to continue studying at the postgraduate level whilst completing your graduate program. We also provide all of our participants with recognised memberships. So a number of our participants will receive membership to the Australian Computer Society, which is paid for by their employing agencies. and also receive a number of training on current industry trends that are affecting the public sector as well. It's really important that each of our cohorts, whether it's in the cadetship program or graduate program, really understand what's happening in the current digital climate in the public sector. So we undertake a number of short courses. So as well as our postgraduate qualifications that we offer, we have a number of short courses that also are undertaken throughout the year, usually sort of ranging from just in length of half a day to a day or so, to really explore some of the things that are impacting the whole cohort. So an example of that is our graduates will undertake a number of masterclasses, which are hosted for us by the Australian Computer Society, on subjects that are actually chosen by the graduates themselves. So if there is a particular event that's happened recently in the digital space, or a trend that's emerging in the digital space, and our graduate cohort want to know more about it or just explore it a little bit more, the Australian Computer Society will go out to find experts in that field and some keynote speakers to put together a masterclass and unpack that subject a little bit more. We also have a really great support network. So right from day one, all participants in our programs are provided with what we call a career liaison officer, who is essentially just there to support you as a graduate with whatever your biggest issue might be in that particular point in time. So career liaison officers will assist right through from perhaps helping graduates if they've relocated to a city for the program, to find accommodation, to find support services. Maybe our participants are coming towards the end of their time on the program and they're looking to apply for higher roles or different roles within government. The career liaison officer will assist in helping you build your application for those roles. So really, whatever you need, they're there to support you. Okay, so I just wanted to explore the graduate certificates a little bit more. So I spoke earlier about the graduate certificate in networking and cybersecurity, which is, of course, a very popular subject for our graduates to undertake. As I mentioned earlier, it's delivered for us currently through the Canberra Institute of Technology, and is delivered through a mixture of theoretical and practical classes. It also provides our graduates with the opportunity to undertake some industry certification for some Cisco certifications and also some ethical hacking accreditations. We also have our graduate certificate in government informatics delivered by the University of Canberra. This is delivered in a group format. So I can imagine maybe some of you are logged in now going, oh no, not another group assignment. But the great thing about the way that this is structured is that all of your members of your group are actually on exactly the same program as you. So they might be from a different participating agency, but still working on the same problems and trends. And we will group the participants together by some of the similar work that they're doing. So the groups definitely aren't assigned at random or anything like that. It is actually also very well received by the graduates that have undertaken that qualification, particularly around getting an understanding of, as I mentioned earlier, some of those trends or things that are currently impacting the digital space within the public sector. The other most important thing about our programs is the professional networking component. So we really make an effort from day one to ensure that all of our cohorts have the opportunity to socialize and build their professional networks amongst each other. So whether you be a participant of our graduate program, our cadetship program, or one of our other entry-level programs, at a number of different times throughout the year, we hold regular networking events so that you have the opportunity to network and understand what your peers are working on, and have an understanding of some of the other workplace issues that may be impacting them, or get an understanding of some of the trends that are occurring in the digital space that may be impacting them. Our past cohorts have found those networking events very, very useful later on in their public sector careers, so after they have completed the graduate program, to maintain those networks and then call upon the wider network later on in their career if they need advice or want to create a bit of a community of practice around an issue that they know that the wider network has faced. So a couple more pictures there. These are just some of the networking events that we've had over the past few years or so. Of course, in recent years, these events have taken more of a virtual format as we've had restrictions due to COVID. And of course, you'll join an alumni. We've had nearly almost 1,700 participants come through these programs now since way back 2007 once they were first created. And that'll be a professional network that you can be a part of moving forward, really useful resource for you. So these are just a couple of pictures of some of our graduating cohorts over the years across a number of different agencies. So that's the end of my presentation there, but of course have a little bit of time still left over to answer any questions that you might have. One thing that I've neglected to mention maybe is where are these positions available, which is a really common question. We have positions typically available in most capital cities across the country. It really is as a result of where our employing agencies and departments need participants. But for our 2023 intake, we will have positions in Canberra, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Brisbane.
Beautiful. Thanks, Adam. We've got a couple of questions and we should be able to get through both of them. If there's any more questions from the Q&A, if you want to send them through the Q&A function. If we don't get to them live, Adam will stay on for a couple of minutes and just answer those directly. But we've got a question from Hayley, who is a career changer. We've got a few people on the call today who look at a shift their career into the tech space. So just wondering if there's anything she should do differently, I guess, when applying for the program, or if there's any other, I guess, specific program that would be better suited to a mature age student.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, really good, great question, Hayley. We have a lot of applicants that come through our program who, I guess, perhaps are new to digital or have undertaken a career in a different area and now moving into the digital space. And we love to see that. Probably the best piece of advice that I could give to you is throughout the assessment process or the interview process or whatever tech or digital graduate program you might go through, is really explain to the assessors or the panel members or whoever it may be how you came to that decision to move into the digital space. We really love hearing about from applicants why it is now an important career choice for them, or perhaps what life event, wherever it may have been, triggered that decision. So yeah, really think about how you might articulate that to a panel.
Beautiful. And the last question we've got is if you will consider bootcamp certificates.
If you were able to have your certificate nationally recognised to the equivalent of, typically they can be recognised at the postgraduate certificate level. If you're able to have it recognised, absolutely we'll consider them.
Fantastic. And since we've got no more, here we go. For overseas people who have the academic qualifications but no experience, first thing would probably be if you accept international students, and then I guess how can they get the role and how can they compete with students with potentially a little bit more experience?
Yeah, sure. So for the digital graduate programs, it is a requirement that you be an Australian citizen to apply, but we certainly would welcome applications from if you don't have work experience and you've completed simply your degree at university and you don't have work experience, that's totally fine. We're absolutely happy to accept applications from students that are in that position or graduates that are in that position, and we would absolutely encourage you to apply. Our graduate programs are an entry-level position, so rather than focusing on years of work experience, you really just need to explain to us why this is your chosen career path and why you're passionate about it.
Fantastic. Mate, Adam, thanks so much for your time today. It was good. Again, I learn a lot in these type of presentations. It's always good insight just to get more understanding about what you're doing and what you're offering to students. So thank you so much.
Great. Thanks so much, Elliot, and everyone. Thanks so much. Best of luck with your graduate journeys moving forward.
Brilliant. Thanks, Adam.